Hello and welcome to your Fantasy Premier League one-stop shop. I'm your host Stephen Gallagher, world number 3 in points totals over the past 3 seasons. Today we're looking at all the key points for Game Week 12, who to buy, who to sell, fixtures to target, captaincy and more. Let's get straight into it, starting with the first key point, and that's international break injuries. I'm sure a lot of you are sitting there looking at your FPL teams right now and wondering why you have so many yellow flags, but I wouldn't worry too much about it. It's well known by now that a lot of Premier League players will withdraw from international duty for these UEFA Nations League games, these friendly games, because they don't carry the same weight or importance as a Euros game or a World Cup game. And a lot of these players use this time to rest up and recover, prepare for their club matches. And I'm sure we all know a lot of managers are, persuading these players to do exactly that so that they're fit for their club. So if your players are yellow flagged in FPL, I would take it with a pinch of salt. Obviously, don't rule out the possibility of a real injury, but we'll have to wait until press conferences later in the week to hear about the severity of these injuries. That being said, here's a quick run through of all the injury news coming out of international break. Trent went off injured in Game Week 11 with a hamstring injury, but he has had the whole international break to recover and could be in contention to play against Southampton in Game Week 12. Other players who withdrew from the England squad are Rice, Saka, Foden, Grealish, Palmer, Colwill and Ramsdale. However, for the Chelsea boys, Palmer, Colwill and Sancho all trained this week, so no worries there. Branthwaite left the England camp and returned to Everton with an injury, and Dwight McNeil is back in full training with Everton after his knee injury. A big blow for Arsenal with Ben White out for 10 to 12 weeks after his knee surgery. But Arsenal are hopeful that Calafiori will be fit to play after the international break. Trossard then went off injured for Belgium, so Arsenal's injury woes just continue this season. Konsa and Pau Torres set to be fit for Game Week 12, despite both of them picking up injuries during the international break. Semenyo withdrew from the Ghana squad with a patella tendon injury. Wissa withdrew from the Congo squad for an injury he picked up against Bournemouth, but should be okay for Game Week 12. And Mbeumo got injured with Cameroon. However, we're not sure about the extent of the injury. And finally, Bentancur was hit with a 7-game domestic ban by the FA for his comments in an interview in Uruguay. The next key point is Jackson versus Isak. Both players have great upcoming fixtures, and if you can get both, then great, but there's only 3 forward slots and a lot of options to choose from in every price range. So a lot of managers have to make a decision on which one to get in, but who is the right pick out of these two? Let's start with Jackson, the pros and cons. The pros for Jackson are that he has better fixtures than Isak all the way up to Game Week 22. He plays in a better attack based off Chelsea's goals per 90 and expected goals per 90 compared to Newcastle's. And he's got Cole Palmer behind him who can create chances out of nothing. Also, his data is amazing. He ranks 6th for goals per 90 at 0.57 per 90. And he ranks 4th for expected goals per 90 at 0.51 XG per 90. And also he's 0.5 million cheaper than Isak. The cons for Jackson are that he will likely miss a game at some point due to his yellow card accumulation. But to me, that's not a huge issue as you can kind of plan around that. More importantly, he gets subbed early almost every game. He's only played 90 minutes 3 times this season and has been subbed before the 80th minute in 7 out of 11 starts. And Chelsea have so many attacking options as well that Jackson, I would say, isn't absolutely essential for them compared to Isak, who is pivotal to Newcastle's attack. On to Isak, the pros for him are that he's on penalties. He's a 90-minute man and he was subbed just once when he was injured. He's, I'd say, essential to the Newcastle attack and a focal point who's always involved. Although Newcastle's attacking data has been poor, they look to be a team back in form with back-to-back wins against Arsenal and then Nottingham Forest away. Obviously, Isak's data isn't as good as Jackson's, but still very good. 0.42 goals per 90 and 0.42 expected goals per 90. The cons for Isak are that his fixtures aren't as good as Jackson's. He has Liverpool, Man United away and Spurs away in the next 9 games. As mentioned already, his data hasn't been as good as Jackson's, and also Newcastle's attacking data hasn't been as good as Chelsea's. Also, Isak has historically been quite injury prone. So all of that added up should hopefully help you make a decision on which striker to go for. Personally, I'll be getting both of them in on my wildcard, but if I had to choose just one, I'd go for Jackson, just based off his fixtures and his data so far this season, Chelsea's data. I know he has that yellow card suspension over his head, but the fact that you can plan for that makes it not too big a downside for me. The next key point is Man United. A lot of speculation on what the lineup is going to be under Amorim. Based off the training videos coming out of Man United and our knowledge of Amorim's tactics historically, This is kind of what fans are thinking will be the preferred lineup. Obviously, this is all speculation, and until we see an actual Amorim lineup, no one will know who he prefers where. But I do think it's worth pointing out that there is a lot of competition in almost every position. Now, from an FPL point of view, this means selecting the players who are absolutely nailed on, and the only players I can firmly say are nailed on are Onana, Martinez, De Ligt, Bruno, and probably Højlund and Ugarte. Other than that, I think all positions are up for grabs, and we don't know who's playing when and where, and I honestly don't think Amorim fully knows yet. He's going to need to see how the players adapt to his system and make some decisions based off that. So for me, Man United players are a wait and see for now. If you want to get one in for their nice fixture run, then one of these nailed players that I mentioned, especially Bruno being the pick of the bunch, these are the ones that I'd go for. Next up is defenses to target, using our fixture difficulty ratings, ranking the best fixtures for defenders over the next 7 game weeks. We also have the club's defensive strength in the far right column, so we can compare their fixture difficulty to their defensive rating and get a more holistic view of the best options for this fixture run. Top of the rankings is Arsenal. Arsenal defence has been extremely underwhelming so far this season. Obviously, red cards and injuries haven't done them any favours so far. 3 clean sheets in the first 4 games and then none in the past 7 games. But they're still 4th for goals conceded and expected goals conceded. So their defensive data is actually very good. And with these fixtures on the horizon, they're 100% a hold if you have someone like a Gabriel, Saliba or Raya. And if you have double Arsenal defence, I would still strongly suggest holding on because clean sheets are on the way in my opinion. I know Ben White is out for 10 to 12 weeks, which isn't going to help them, but they do have really good replacements for him in Timber, Partey, Tomiyasu, so I wouldn't worry about that. If you don't have any Arsenal defenders, then I think getting one in is enough for now, and Gabriel has to be the one to go for with his goal threat. Second on the rankings is Wolves, and as you can see, their defensive strength is poor according to this ranking system, but their opposition so far has been very strong. I'm not expecting many clean sheets from Wolves, but what I am expecting is this man Aït-Nouri to continue attacking like he has been. In general, clean sheets have been very hard to come by this season for every team, so picking an attacking defender who you don't rely on for clean sheets, but more for their attacking potential, it's definitely a viable option. That being said, you could also see Wolves picking up a clean sheet or 2 in this fixture run, and if they don't, then this man will still be attacking. He ranks 1st in expected goals per 90 for defenders this season, and like I said, if Wolves can pick up a few clean sheets while he's at it, he's an absolute bargain at his price. Newcastle have some lovely fixtures coming up. They rank 3rd best for goals conceded, only 11 goals conceded this season, but they rank 11th best for expected goals conceded, so have maybe gotten quite lucky from that point of view. I think if you're going for a defender, then Lewis Hall has to be the one to go for. He's cheap, 4.4 million now actually, and he's great for bonus points. So when Newcastle keep a clean sheet or Lewis Hall gets an attack and return, he usually also gets a bonus point or 2 or 3. Brighton have some nice upcoming fixtures. Lewis Dunk isn't officially back yet. The club haven't released a statement on him, so we'll wait for the press conferences to see if he's playing this weekend. And once he's back, then Brighton defenders are definitely on the menu. It's just about picking the right one. And I fancy a punt on this man, Ferdi Kadioglu. He's got the best attacking data of all the Brighton defenders. If he can continue getting in advanced places like he's been doing, then he's definitely an option to keep an eye on going forward. Next up is Chelsea. Really good upcoming fixtures and also a really good defence this season. Tied 5th best for goals conceded at 13 goals conceded this season, and they're ranked 7th best for expected goals conceded. I think the best thing about Chelsea defence is that there's a cheap route into it with these 2 lads, Sanchez and Colwill. Now, I wouldn't suggest a double up on Chelsea defence, but getting one in I would recommend. At their price and with their defensive data, I think it is a good shout. Man United have a new manager coming in from Gameweek 12, and their next 3 fixtures are very nice from a defensive point of view. If Amorim comes in and starts playing his usual 3-4-3 formation, we expect the likes of Mazraoui and Dalot to play the wing-back roles, which will make them very interesting options. But there is a lot of competition in these roles. Malacia, Shaw, Diallo and Anthony are all options there. So we'll kind of have to wait and see who ends up playing these roles under Amorim. Finally, Liverpool have some decent upcoming fixtures and they're the best defence in the league. Only 6 goals conceded in 11 games. 6 clean sheets already. So a clean sheet in more than half of their games. I had Trent on this list last week, but he's out injured now, obviously, for a couple of weeks. But for the price of 5.4 million, you can get Konate into your squad. He's a cheap way into the Liverpool defence, and I don't think he's going to be getting any cheaper. He's been great for Liverpool so far, and his price for a 90-minute Liverpool defender, that's great value in my opinion. Next up is Attacks the Target, ranking the best fixtures for attackers over the next 7 game weeks. We also have the club offensive strength in the far right column. Top is Brighton. Now, Welbeck and João Pedro are the ones to go for. They're very cheap, so getting them in your squad isn't going to break the bank, and it's not like it's going to be a huge gamble. João Pedro, he's on penalties as far as we know. So at his price, if he's on penalties and if he plays consistently in this fixture run, he's really hard to look past. And Welbeck, he's been the man in form at Brighton at the moment. Another cheap option. And if he can continue scoring at the rate he has been, he'll be one of the picks of the season at his price. Next is Bournemouth. They rank 3rd in the league for expected goals, more than Liverpool and Chelsea, which is crazy. They have a lot of great budget options, and Semenyo, he is the one for me, followed by Evanilson, 2 great budget options. Wolves next, their fixtures are just so good, and even though their offensive strength is low, their fixtures have been really tough, which has skewed their data, and I expect them to bang a few goals over this run. Cunha is my favourite pick from them. He's the outlet for Wolves, and they rely on him a lot for everything that they do going forward. But if you don't have the funds for Cunha, then Strand Larsen is another great pick at his price. Newcastle next, they are a team reformed. After 0 wins in 5 games, they've come back to win against Arsenal, then Nottingham Forest away. With these upcoming fixtures, it's safe to say that Newcastle attackers are back on the menu. I think Isak is the pick of the bunch. He's got 2 goals and an assist in the past 2 games, a man on form. And I also expect Anthony Gordon to come back into people's thinking soon. We all know how good he can be. Over 20 goal involvements last season. If he's going to find his form, then I expect him to do so over this fixture run. Chelsea next up. They have some really good upcoming fixtures, and their attack has been really good this season. From them, Cole Palmer is the obvious one. Joint first in the league for non-penalty goal involvement. Second for expected goal involvement after Haaland. I think he's close to becoming essential for this fixture run, just based off the fact that he's a captaincy shout in 3 of the next 5 fixtures. Leicester, Southampton, then Brentford at home. Definitely look at trying to get him into your team. I also really like the look of Nicholas Jackson. As I mentioned, his underlying data is impressive. He ranks 4th for expected goal involvement behind Haaland, Palmer and Salah. With that data, you would expect him to cost a lot more than 7.9 million. With these nice fixtures coming up, a Chelsea double up in attack is more than viable, and even a triple up if you want to get one of those defenders in too. Next up is Arsenal attack. With Odegaard back, I think it gives these 2 players a massive boost. Obviously, Odegaard gives Saka less responsibility in the build-up and more freedom to make those runs and create space that Odegaard can find. And also, Odegaard back allows Havertz to move up into his striker role, which obviously increases his appeal as an FPL asset. Don't be surprised if you see Arsenal go on a winning streak now, and these 2 picking up a lot of points. Next up is Liverpool, and of course, Mo Salah. He's becoming essential in FPL yet again. Yes, he's worth the price tag. Yes, just get him into your team no matter what. If it means selling Haaland, then do it. Just find a way, because he is on fire and, in my opinion, the best captaincy shout this week against Southampton. Other than that, I tried thinking of another Liverpool attacker to suggest, but I just don't trust anyone else's minutes in the attack, especially with European games coming into the mix. A lot of games coming up, and I expect a lot of rotation from slot in that front line. Maybe even Salah gets a rest at some point, but I doubt that'll be in the Premier League until the big Champions League games start rolling in anyways. I think Salah is safe from rotation, but not the rest of the Liverpool attackers. Just a quick note on Spurs and City. As you can see, they're at the bottom of this chart, hence why a lot of managers are comfortable selling Haaland. If you have multiple players from these teams, I'd suggest looking at moving them on for some of the others that I've suggested, because their fixture runs are really tough in the next 7 game weeks. On to the stats review. I'm going to do a run through of the best performing players in every position statistically. Players in red are the most expensive and green are the least expensive. For goalkeepers, we're looking at expected goal conceded against the bonus point system. As you can see, Alisson is playing for the best defence, but not getting as many bonus points, just on the average line there. Onana, on the other hand, is playing for a defence, conceding more chances, but that means he's making more saves and getting more bonus too, so a bit of a trade-off. The most interesting one here is Sells. He's a cheap keeper in amongst more expensive assets, and he's putting up better numbers than almost every goalkeeper in the league. It's just a question of whether Nottingham Forest can continue to do so in their tough upcoming fixture run. For defenders, we're looking at expected goals conceded against non-penalty expected goal involvement. Trent is the standout here, hence his price tag, but he's out injured at the moment, obviously. His teammate Robertson is putting up good attacking data too, though. Digne is also up there as well, good attacking data and playing for a good defence, and also very cheap. Paro, another one, putting up really good attacking data, but it's not materialised much for him in the form of FPL points. And with his upcoming fixtures really turning, I wouldn't go near him. And then there's Aitnuri, who we discussed, not playing for the best defence, but a really attacking player, putting up good numbers and also really cheap with really good upcoming fixtures. Let's move on to the midfielders. We're looking at the bonus point system against non-penalty expected goal involvement. Last week, Cole Palmer was out on his own, and this week, Mo Salah has closed the gap massively. After them, Saka and Mbeumo fighting it out for third spot, and at his price, Mbeumo is putting up ridiculous numbers. Now, Brentford's fixtures do turn for the worse soon, so we might have seen the best of Mbeumo, but he's still really good value for his output. Semenyo is also putting up really good expected data, however, not getting as much on the bonus point system. Same can be said for Brennan Johnson and Morgan Rogers. On to the forwards. Haaland's so far ahead on the bonus point system and expected data, so let's remove him from the plot to get a better look at the rest of the forwards. Nicholas Jackson seems to be the best option based off the data, but there's a lot of really interesting cheap forward options to consider. The likes of Welbeck, Wissa, Cunha and Wood, they're all putting up really good data for their price and picking up a lot on the bonus point system. Looking at the more expensive forwards like Solanke, Watkins, Isak and Havertz, they really aren't doing much to separate themselves from the more budget options, which to me means that going for more budget forwards definitely offers a lot of value and lets you free up funds elsewhere in your team. On to captaincy, and I think Mo Salah against Southampton away is the best captaincy option this week. He's had 2 weeks rest over the international break. He's on form, he's fresh, and he's playing the second worst defence in the league statistically. I expect a big score from him this week. But I don't think this man will be far behind, and that's Palmer against Leicester away. We've seen Palmer struggle against the big teams this season, but we know what he can do against lesser opponents. I think he's probably the more explosive asset than Salah, but I just edge it in Salah's favour because of his form and his consistency. That being said, I also wouldn't be surprised if Palmer goes nuclear and outscores Salah this week. It's kind of a 50-50 in my eyes. In third, I've gone for Isak against West Ham at home. He's a man in form and we know how important that is for strikers. West Ham defence has also been really poor this season, so I think it's a good fixture to target for Isak owners. In fourth place, I've gone Haaland against Spurs at home. He's been out of form massively and so have Man City, so I don't expect much from him this week. However, Romero and Van de Ven are both injury concerns for this game week, and there's obviously still a likelihood that they are both available. We're not sure the seriousness of their injuries, but if neither of them play, then that makes Spurs defence significantly worse, a lot more vulnerable, and it makes Haaland a lot more threatening. In number 5, I've gone for Bruno against Ipswich away. He's a man reborn after Ten Hag has left. As discussed, we're expecting him to play in a more advanced role under Amorim, and Bruno playing advanced against the worst defence in the league statistically means a lot of points are on the table. Let's see if he can produce for his new manager. On to my Game Week 11 review. 38 points all out and a Game Week rank of 8.4 million. It's my 4th red arrow in a row, down to 1.3 millionth overall. Not good at all, lads. I went from 6 green arrows in a row to 4 red arrows in a row. Holding on to Haaland this long and not having either Salah or Palmer has really destroyed my rank, and all of my transfers since Game Week 7 have gone terribly. I brought in Porro for Barco. He got 1 point, then 2 points, 2 points, 1 point, and then 4 points. So 10 points in 5 games from him. Then in Game Week 9, I brought in Foden for Jota as a 3-week punt. He had Southampton at home, then Bournemouth and Brighton away, and I got 7 points in 3 games from him. I did Saka to Johnson also in Game Week 9, and over those 3 games, Saka outscored him by 2 points, so not a big deal. And then I got Trent in for Game Week 10 for Konsa as a 2-week punt, 2 points from Trent, and then he got injured after 20 minutes against Villa. Pretty unlucky there, and then obviously Liverpool go on to get a clean sheet without him. Nice 1-pointer from Trent there. And then I got Solanke in Game Week 11 for Watkins for a fat 2-pointer. So I don't know what's been going on with these transfers. I plan all week for them, and then all these hours of analysis, I've been getting everything wrong. I'm not going to deny that I've been unlucky in some places, like watching the matches. Johnson could have scored against Ipswich, Foden could have assisted Haaland against Brighton in the last minute. Trent obviously getting injured. Just a combination of a few unfortunate events. Let's look at how I'm going to fix this mess. My plan for Game Week 12 is to wildcard out of this shambles. I've been saying it for weeks. This video is already getting pretty long and I have a lot to say about the wildcard, so I'm going to do a completely separate video on my wildcard and I'm going to be posting that tomorrow, Friday morning. So keep an eye out for that and follow me on Twitter at FPL_Gallagher to see what I end up doing. That's all for today, folks. Go ahead and drop a like and subscribe if you enjoyed. Until next time, have a good one.